show them by example and teach them. And, you're never going to make everyone perfect. There's no such thing. Not everyone's going to do everything. But you're going to come across a few people that are really willing to roll their sleeves up and get in the trenches with you and work hard. And the only way you do that is by showing them and leading by example.
Mr. Eastman, I think you did a good job. It's ingrained in him, that I can tell. And I really know that the company is going to move forward successfully. You guys had a couple of some milestones. Let's talk about the World Trade Center, because that to me is a big deal. I wish I could have been there. And
Well, the thing when Katrina happened, I belong to the 100 Black Men, and the 100 Black Men in Eastern Stars and myself, we got together, and I provided a tractor trailer, 53-foot with a 53-foot trailer, and they filled it. They filled it, and we sent it down to Katrina. And I'll think of his name. Anyway, the former president of that, he gave me a statue, which I, a little gift, a little gift, which I have in my office. When the World Trade Center happened, we went and we got police clearance and everything, and we took the trailer down, and with the trailer we had shower heads in it, whereby so that the men, when they were working outside, they could have gone in the trailer and washed all of that dust off. But then FEMA came in and stopped us, and we couldn't go down. Mm-hmm. But Sandy, I wanted to work, but I was denied that also. I mean, so things wasn't the lack of willingness on our part. It was a lack of.
It sounds like bureaucracy to me. Straight up bureaucracy and ownership of that bureaucracy.
Amen. Amen to you.
How else do you explain having a 53-foot with shower heads, and then you're stopped from doing something good? Hey. But we're all learning. We're all in this journey, and we're all learning. Well, so we have about 4 or 5 minutes left. So you've always been someone who's involved in the community, who's always made contributions. Your boilers are now in the World Trade Center.
They're also in the Yankee Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
We built approximately 20,000 steel boilers.
Jeez.
And I don't think anyone has exceeded that or even approached it.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them good, they're long-lasting. And I want to do more. I love this country. I love this state. I love this city. I love my borough. And I want to do more for it. There's a lot of work, and I believe that Mayor de Blasio is going to bring a new image, a new agenda to New York. And I think a lot is going to be done, and a lot of the ills that exist are going to be remediated. All right, which as it should be. I don't believe anybody should be homeless. I don't believe any. When I see someone walking on a cold day or a cold night and have no place to go, only because of the lack of funds or whatever, we have to learn how to share more and be better citizens toward our citizens who are less fortunate than we are. No one should have to be suffering the pain that they're suffering. It's needless, because there's so much money here that people just spend needlessly. A diamond is only a stone. You can't make no more out of it. I don't care how much you polish it, you know. And if you extend yourself now, about 6 years ago, I joined Abyssinia Church, and thanked the good Reverend Butts. And they had dedicated a street to my father right in front of our place. And Reverend Butch came over and he blessed it. And I've been going to it, and I try to be there every Sunday, and I'm there almost every Sunday. And it's changed my life, it's changed me, and it's made me a happy and a better and a more dedicated person, and I thank him for that.
Tyron has been listening to every single word. He's just, he soaks it up. He's like a sponge.
The best way.
Yeah, the absolute best way. What would you say to your grandfather about his legacy and the future of East Coast Boiler?
I think the easiest thing to say is thank you, because, thanks to him, we are here where we are, and thanks to him, we have somewhere to go. So, thank you.
And what would you say to your grandson, Mr. Eastman? Well, I applaud my grandson because he absorbs. He goes to a meeting. When he comes out, he grabs points that I miss, and we sit down and we talk. I want him to be the best person that he can be, and he's on the road to be that. Okay, he has a family that he loves. It's family oriented, and he's now learning, and he learns every day. Because I take him everywhere I go, every place of importance that I go, and I think he should be there. I take him with me. And that's why East Coast Boiler is going to go so far into the future. And I feel so privileged and blessed to be able to speak with both of you about your family, about your legacy, Mr. Eastman, and about your future, Tyron Eastman.
Thank you.
I thank both of you for coming back. You guys are welcome anytime, by the way, because there are so many parts of this story that I want so many people to hear.
Well, we have to talk about that. And I'm ready to talk when you are.
All right. Sounds to me as though I'm going to be setting up some dates here to get them back into the studio. It's a good thing I'm connected. Thank you, Miss Ronnie Sykes.
That lovely lady.
That lovely lady over there who just, knows how to hook a sister up. And I might add also that the professional that she is and has been, every single time I've reached out to her, speaks to your ethics and your integrity as well. So I thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to have this interview on the site. Leon Eastman and Tyron Eastman, East Coast Boiler Company. I want you to go online, look them up, and if you need a job, they probably have jobs if you want to work, but you got to be willing to work. The key word there is work, because when you go and see that facility, you will see that that's exactly what they do. I'm Audrey Adams. We'll be right back. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
After the break, and I like to switch gears. So, of course, we have to talk about money. Farnoosh Torabi, personal finance expert, best-selling author, and TV personality, joins me to tell us why it's essential to prepare now to accomplish your New Year's resolutions later. And in support of American Diabetes Month this November, Colgate Total has launched a campaign to help raise awareness surrounding the often overlooked link between oral health and diabetes. Still to come. And there's a new survey called Functioning with Fibro. Jan Chambers, a fibromyalgia patient, mother of 5, and the president of the National Fibromyalgia and Chronic Pain Association, and Dr. Angela Golden, the president of the American Association of Nurse Practitioners, join me to tell us all about the signs, the symptoms, and the hope that's on the horizon for sufferers of fibromyalgia. Don't forget, you can now follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Visit talkwithaudrey.com.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Hi there, I'm Audrey Adams, and this is Talk with Audrey, insightful, intelligent information to help you improve the quality of your life or someone else's. At the start of every year, we make resolutions to improve the year to come. Well, whether you're resolving to lose weight or curb spending, those are
of course, the two most common resolutions. But if you take the time to prepare and make some smaller changes leading up to the new year, maybe, it'll help to set you up to stick to your resolutions. Finance expert Farnoosh Torabi joins me with some insights. Welcome, Farnoosh, to Talk with Audrey.
Thanks so much for having me, Audrey. It's great to be here.
Yeah, those resolutions, those pesky little resolutions. But let me ask, in terms of financial mistakes, because I think finance seems to be on most folks' minds these days, what are some of the biggest mistakes that sort of inhibit our ability to pay down debt?
Well, the first is that we don't establish the right goals. I think that it's fine to want to get out of debt. It's fine to want to save, but why? What's the motivation? What's the end game result? And so take some time to think about where exactly you want to be this time next year, whether it's to have more money in order to buy a new home, or in order to, have more money for college, or have more money for a vacation. I think when you can visualize that goal, then, working your way back and then starting to save, paying off debt, it becomes more meaningful. So that's a really important first step that a lot of us neglect. We think it's enough just to say, I want to save, and that's a great start, but you have to have that goal to back it up.
Budgeting is also really important, isn't it?
Very, very important. And, a lot of people hate that B word, but it's so important because I try to say, think of a budget as not just this rigid, black and white sort of table of how you're going to be able to spend your money, but it's really this malleable look at how you should be allocating your money over time. Life changes, so make sure that your budget reflects that. Make sure your budget reflects your goals. Make sure that it reflects your values. And so when you think about a budget in those terms, as opposed to, I can only spend $50 on X and only $80 on Y, I think it becomes, again, more meaningful. And if we can make money more meaningful, then I think that that's 50% of the journey to paying off debt or saving more money.
Make money more meaningful.
Yes. I always say no one cares more about your money than you. So what's keeping you from getting, a head start? What's keeping you from making those right steps? And, with New Year's coming around and a lot of us, 55% of us, in fact, failing to keep up with those resolutions by April. A lot of us have abandoned those resolutions. I think what's also important to keep in mind is that when you are trying to make your money more meaningful, trying to commit to those resolutions, have some systems in place to support you and your mission. Among those systems, one is have a support system that's consisting of family and friends who know what you're trying to accomplish. The Bureau of Economic Research actually did a study and found that those of us who save and try to share our goals with others and say to our family and our friends and our coworkers that my goal is to save money this year, we end up saving more frequently, and we end up having more savings at the end of that timeline, as opposed to those of us who saved in secret or saved quietly. So first thing is you got to express what you're trying to do, because I think it keeps you more accountable. The other thing is you want to automate as many of your payments as possible. Psychologically, this can help you a lot because it makes sure that you don't have to worry about when is this due, did I pay it, trying to sort of keep that distraction going. It's very difficult because life's, very distracting. So make it more stress-free by automating. It ensures that you pay your bills on time, you're never late. This helps your credit score. The other thing is, for those of us who want to eliminate debt, or perhaps start on the right foot, a better foot in the new year with our credit profile, with our financial profile, and you want to perhaps consolidate your debt or transfer your debt or open a new credit card, it's important to shop around, look very closely at the fine print, and think about how is this card going to incentivize me to really take on the right behaviors to commit to my goals. One example is the Bank Americard Better Balance Rewards card. And what I like about this card is that it really incentivizes you to save. It incentivizes you to be more aggressive with your debt. It rewards you with dollars every quarter when you pay more than that monthly minimum on time every month. So over the course of a year, they'll potentially reward you for good behavior. So these types of cards, Audrey, they exist, low interest, no annual balance, an annual fee. These are the kind of fine prints you want to look for so that you can start the new year off on the right foot with the right approach to paying down debt. or establishing good credit.
So I have one question, Farnoosh. How can the bank afford to do that?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so you have all these customers, and say they all get the card, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're giving up per year per customer who enrolls. That could be a substantial chunk. So have they budgeted for this?
Of course. I mean, I don't work internally at the bank. I'm sure they have, like you and I, they've looked at their balance sheets and they figured out how to make this work. I think it's a really interesting way to bring in new customers, but also keep your customers happy. And I think, in the wake of, if you want to talk about it, in the wake of like the financial crisis and everything, the smart banks are the ones that are looking at customer loyalty and customer appreciation, because I think that consumers are a little confused about where to bank. And so when you can have an incentive that says, look, we're interested in keeping you long term, and with that in mind, we want to promote, better habits. At the end of the day, yes, banks make a lot of money off of the customers who never pay their balance and the fees go up, et cetera. But those aren't long-term customers. The long-term customer is the one that's going to be paying off their balance responsibly. And those are the customers that might be interested in other kinds of products as well. So it's a smart strategy.
All right. With the holidays coming up, of course, people tend to overspend.
Yes.
How do you sort of rein that in when the temptation is so great?
First, I always say, think about who you want to gift. You can't be everybody. You have to really think about how you want to create this list of gifts, and talk to your family about, how are we going to do this? Because if you're concerned, chances are your cousins are concerned, your grandparents are concerned, your parents are concerned. Everybody wants to save this time of year. So be the leader and have, an email going around saying, look, maybe we do a Secret Santa, maybe we do a Pollyanna. So we're not buying everybody a big ticket item. We do kind of a budget holiday this year, and I'm sure that will go across very well. So that's the first thing, is sort of be proactive about saving if that's important to you. It probably is to others. Another thing is, don't wait till the last minute to shop. I know Black Friday is approaching, but look, there are sales throughout the season. So you don't have to wait till the last minute to get a good deal. You can go this weekend, and just start to look at least and start to compare prices. The other thing is, you're going to be shopping at the malls. You're going to be asked to open up perhaps several different store credit cards. And while even some of these have great initial offerings, like 20% off your first purchase, you got to think really long and hard about whether this card is going to be a long-term card for you, or it's just sort of this, knee-jerk reaction, excitement that you have to save 20%. A lot of these cards charge exorbitant interest rates, and when you open up multiple credit cards within a short period of time, that hurts your credit score. So try not to fall into the store credit card trap of opening up so many cards around the holiday season. The marketing is going to be very aggressive, so just be aware of that.
All right. Those are some great tips for not just the holiday shopping, but for year-round, not to have so many cards, and to, I think, centralize your finances so that you can keep track of them. I know you've got some other great tips. Where can we go for some more information?
You can always check out my blog. It's farnoosh.tv. And to look at some credit cards, check out bankofamerica.com/credit cards.
All right. Farnoosh Torabi, thanks so much for joining me on the show. I want to wish you right now a happy holiday season, and everybody out there within the sound of our voice, keep your finances in check so that you start off the new year the right way. We'll be right back.
After the break, Dr. Catrice Austin, celebrity cosmetic dentist, joins me to tell us what we all need to know about oral care for Americans living with diabetes. You're listening to Talk with Audrey.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Hi there, I'm Audrey Adams, and this is Talk with Audrey, insightful, intelligent information to help you improve the quality of your life or someone else's. In support of American Diabetes Month this November, Colgate Total has launched a campaign to help raise awareness surrounding the often overlooked link between oral health and diabetes. Dr. Catrice Austin, celebrity cosmetic dentist, joins me with information about the campaign and about oral care for Americans living with diabetes. Welcome, Dr. Catrice Austin, to Talk with Audrey.
Good morning. morning.
Let's talk first about the connection between good oral health and diabetes.
There is a strong link between diabetes and oral health, and it has to do with the ability for the diabetics to control their bacteria levels in their mouth. Diabetes makes the body more susceptible to bacterial infections, and so people with diabetes have a decreased ability to fight gum disease. And gum disease is usually indicated by bleeding gums, gums that are swollen and tender, bad breath. And so these are the things that we need our consumers and people out there with diabetes to talk to their doctors about, and especially their dentists.
You would recommend then, as a dentist, that someone who is diabetic maintain regular checkups?
Absolutely, and sometimes people with diabetes have to not only go to the dentist twice a year, you may have to visit the dentist 3 to 4 times a year to control the gum disease that's in your mouth.
So what happens with most people, like if you don't floss, I know that you're at an increased risk for gum disease because the food sort of gets down in between the teeth and plaque forms and all kinds of icky things go on, right?
Yeah, what people have to understand is that the plaque that forms in your mouth every day is nothing but bacteria. So I think the problem is a lot of people aren't aware that that plaque is bacteria. So if you're not brushing, you're not flossing, and I recommend a product like Colgate Total because it is 90% more effective and remove the germs that cause gum disease. So I highly recommend that you floss twice a day, preferably before you go to bed. And if you're not flossing, you're just leaving that bacteria below the gums, and it just destroys the fibers and the bone that supports your teeth. And tooth loss is one of the most common things that happens if we ignore this problem. So that's why this campaign is really, really important, and the information is so important for us to really pay attention to.
I have a couple of friends who've had some teeth removed, and they've had to have had dentures made. And one thing everybody says is that if you can keep your own teeth, do so, because there's no replacing the real thing, not for real.
And when you do have to replace it, it's very expensive and it's painful. So we, between myself and Colgate, we really want to prevent gum disease. And that's so simple. If you just brush, floss, visit your dentist, we can get this under control. Talk to your doctor, talk to your dentist if you see any signs of any type of gum disease. Please make sure, because the people aren't really discussing this with their doctors. They may have signs of gum disease, but they're not really talking about it, and that's very, very important.
So the signs, again, would be some puffy gums.
Bleeding gum, loose teeth, bad breath, swollen or tender gums, gums that are red as opposed to pink. Those are all key signs that you may have gum disease. If it gets to the point where you're feeling pain, your teeth are loose, that's when it's more advanced. You may need gum surgery and you may lose your teeth. So I want to see everybody out there keep your teeth. And between going to the dentist and using a product like Colgate Total, brush and you floss and you go to the dentist, we can get this under control. And there's a great website that we have called oralhealthanddiabetes.com, where you can get more information about this campaign, get expert tips, and I'm one of the experts on the website.
The other thing that I think is important, Dr. Austin, is the toothbrush that you use. I'm always confused. Yes. When I go to buy a toothbrush, what am I looking for? Am I looking for that extra soft? Am I looking for firm? What texture? Does it need ridges or not? What?
That is a great question. I want everybody out there to know that you must use a soft bristle toothbrush. Soft is just good enough to remove the plaque, because plaque is soft. If you have tartar, which is hard, there's nothing, you can't use a hard toothbrush to get that off. You need to see your dental team to remove the tartar, which is hardened bacteria, and that's when we use the water pick and those instruments that people don't like to see. But you're looking for a soft toothbrush, and then after that, you're looking for something that you can hold that is comfortable. You want something soft. Don't brush too hard. If you find that you're going overboard with brushing too hard, that's when you may want to upgrade to an electric toothbrush. But a manual soft toothbrush will do the trick.
I know that your oral health can tell a lot of different stories about your health. So we'd also recommend, Dr. Austin, that you see your dentist, right?
That's right. Your smile is one of the first things that people will notice about you. It proves your quality of life to have a nice, healthy smile. And then if you have a beautiful smile, you'll dazzle the world.
Can people go for some more information again?
I would love for everybody to visit oralhealthanddiabetes.com.
And to good oral health and diabetes. If you have diabetes or know someone who is diabetic, be sure to tell them about this interview that you've heard and about how important it is to see your dentist and to use the right products to keep your mouth clean and healthy. Dr. Catrice Austin, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
My pleasure.
We'll be right back after this.
Still to come, there's a new survey called Functioning with Fibro. Jan Chambers, a fibromyalgia patient, mother of 5, and the president of the National Fibromyalgia and Chronic Pain Association, and Dr. Angela Golden, the president of the American Association of Nurse Practitioners, join me to tell us all about the signs, the symptoms, and the hope that's on the horizon for sufferers of fibromyalgia.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Hi there, I'm Audrey Adams, and this is Talk with Audrey, insightful, intelligent information to help you improve the quality of your life or someone else's. There's a new survey, it's called Functioning with Fibro, and it reveals that the majority of people surveyed who are living with fibromyalgia feel that the pain associated with the condition is one symptom that most significantly impacts their daily life. But believe it or not, less than half are discussing ways to improve this with their healthcare provider. My guests are Jan Chambers. She's a fibromyalgia patient, mother of 5, and president of the National Fibromyalgia and Chronic Pain Association, and Dr. Angela Golden, president of the American Association of Nurse Practitioners. Welcome to Talk with Audrey.
Thank you for having us, Audrey.
My pleasure. Let's first talk about fibromyalgia and exactly what it is. Dr. Golden.
So fibromyalgia is a chronic widespread pain or tenderness that's lasted 3 months or more. So this is beyond the sore shoulder, the bad back from working in the yard yesterday. This is, and 80% of the patients rate their pain as severe 4 out of 7 days a week. So this is significant pain, and it is widespread.
What causes it?
Great question. I wish I had an absolute answer. What we do know about it is that the central nervous system and the peripheral nerves seem to change in some way so that the information they're sending to the brain about simple touch that may be perceived as pain then, we don't know exactly what caused it yet. A lot of researchers and scientists are working on that, but the scientists clearly say that there's some change in that central nervous and peripheral nervous system that causes the body to sense pain differently than people who don't have fibromyalgia.
So is it, you mentioned like from a common backache or something. So is this a pain that can be felt in the muscles, in the tissues, or upon touch?
It can be all of those. It's a very general, so really it's widespread pain. So it's all around the body. It's not just in one place like people might say, oh, I have pain in my back. This is pain that's widespread, and people are often very sensitive to any touch to the skin.
I see. Interesting. And so at what age? Is there like an age range where a woman or man might experience this?
It's primarily women, and between the ages of 30 to 60 for women are the prime time, but it can occur in children and men, so I don't want people that are listening to think that it's only about women.
And so how is it diagnosed with your doctor?
Well,
you go to him or her and say, I just feel pain all over, and then what steps do they take to help diagnose it?
So the American College of Rheumatology has very clear criteria on how to diagnose fibromyalgia for primary care providers and other providers. So nurse practitioners, physician assistant. Our criteria are really clear on how to make that diagnosis, but one of the big criteria are that widespread pain for 3 months or more. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned people going, I think it's really important that people know there are resources out there. There's a Facebook page called Fibro Center, and it has a resource on what to take with you to your healthcare provider appointment so that you can make the most of that time and you can provide them with the information so that they can partner with you to create a plan of action, or as Jan calls it, her toolkit for dealing with it.
All right. Jan, how long ago were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed 8 years ago, and I think that the most significant point of my life is that it has impacted my family and friends. That includes the activities that we plan. That includes the way that I interact with my grandchildren. I get down on the floor with pillows and play with my little granddaughters, and that's fine by them. They are very happy. They don't know the difference that I'm not carrying them around. Or we can go to a warm water pool where I don't have the weight of their bodies against mine, and we can still have that cuddle time. So the impact upon family and friends is significant, and there's social isolation that comes along with this. So in understanding that we can still find adaptations, ways that we can interact with our loved ones and be a part of their lives is very important.
This is really, I've heard a lot about fibromyalgia, and I've never really understood it. And hearing you speak about, interacting and just normal social activities is, it's interesting. So this pain then is something that you're sensitive to on a constant daily basis at this point.
Yes, people do feel pain daily. The symptoms, there are other symptoms that go along with the pain, but the pain is the number one symptom that impacts daily life. And when we think about the daily activities, we're talking about being able to vacuum, being able to cook dinner, care for one's family, not going out and doing a lot of shopping or going and having pleasurable activities. We're mostly focused on being able to make be able to handle those responsibilities that we have daily, because those are the interactions that we want to accomplish, that we still want to have that purpose in life. There's a lot of isolation that happens with fibromyalgia. People think that it's just happening to them, or they don't understand that their symptoms are very common. And when they go to these informal peer networks, they're able to find a lot of information and find that friendship or that social component where they feel safe to discuss these things, because sometimes our family and friends don't know how to help us, and we need to reach out and help each other. That Fibro Center on Facebook is one of the best tools that we have.
Dr. Golden, are there medications available to help deal with the daily pain?
There are medications available, but one of the big key issues with fibromyalgia is that for every patient, they need an individualized plan. Some medications work for some people, some medications work for others, but really it's about creating that partnership with their healthcare provider, their nurse practitioner, their physician, and creating a plan that works for them, because it's more than medication. It's learning how to adapt like Jan described to you. It's learning that movement during the day is really important. So it's more than medication. It's bigger than that. And that's why that partnership is so critically important. And the earlier the diagnosis, the better prognosis there is for the patient. So I would encourage anybody that is listening and maybe has symptoms that they've had for 3 months to get in with a healthcare provider who can listen, but use those toolkits up front so that they can go in and really use that time as best they can.
And that also means doing your research before you go to your doctor, because sometimes, you sit there and you go, well, yeah, I have this pain, but it's sort of all over, and you wonder whether or not, quite honestly, at many times, if your doctor believes you or if he or she thinks you might be a hypochondriac. When you're not, you're really explaining what you're feeling.
And I think the Fibro Center resource that's there to help you have that discussion with your healthcare provider, your nurse practitioners especially are really good listeners and good communicators, because we started as nurses and then went back for advanced education. I think that when you have the discussion and as you said, you've done your research ahead of time and you're coming in with the information that you need to be able to present, you're going to have a better chance that you've got that good relationship to get the care that you need.
All right. Wow, ladies, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I've been talking with Jan Chambers. She's a fibromyalgia patient, and Dr. Angela Golden, who's president of the American Association of Nurse Practitioners. And Jan, your organization, the National Fibromyalgia and Chronic Pain Association. So there are two great places where you can go for information. And then there's the Facebook page again, Dr. Golden?
Fibro Center.
Fibro Center. All right. It's not all in your head. If it's throughout your body, you got to talk to your doctor, your health practitioner, your nurse practitioner, somebody. Ask them to listen, please. You shouldn't have to walk around in pain.
Well, that's it for this week's show. I'd like to invite you to visit my site, talkwithaudrey.com, for more insightful, intelligent information to help you improve the quality of your life or someone else's. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Adams Report and like us on Facebook. I'm Audrey Adams. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Veterans have difficulty transitioning their military skills into civilian jobs. In New York City, an estimated 17,300 veterans are unemployed.